Hope everybody's doing well. Welcome to this edition of the Amazon Fast Track Q&A webinar with me, Ben. So hope everyone's having a great day. And what do you say we get right to it without further ado? I probably don't need to spend too much time on how our Q&A webinars work, but on the off chance this is your first ever with me, we are going to go in order, well, in the following, priority, if you will. As you guys know, to keep things nice and organized and streamlined, and so I can get through the questions, as many questions as humanly possible. I will be reading all the pre-submitted questions. I will occasionally bounce to the chat box on GoToWebinar. I don't like it because it's a constant stream of questions, and I don't know if you posted it an hour ago or you just posted it or that kind of thing. But I will try to take a look at that if we have time. So what do you guys say we just dive right into it? I just wanted to give you kind of the quote or the thought of the month. It's what you accomplish, not how long it takes, that determines your level of success. It's a pretty interesting thought, isn't it? It kind of dawned on me that the 80-20 rule can be boiled down to this thought, really. And, I am far from perfect. One thing that I do try to remember to do every morning as I'm planning out my day is I ask myself, as I look at this giant list that is like impossible to accomplish, the goal of good time management is not to achieve everything on your to-do list. I think that's totally impossible. I mean, maybe you've done it. I've never been able to do it. But the goal of really effective time management is to ask yourself, as I look at this list of all these tasks and projects and items, what is the one thing that in one fell swoop and that that could be done relatively easy, could have a massive impact and produce massive results? And so that's kind of a summary of it's what you accomplish, not how long it takes you, that will determine your level of success. Because I guarantee you that there are people that, as far as like items checked off the to-do list, that blow me out of the water. But in terms of trying to identify those small handful of tasks and put my time and attention on those first and foremost in my day, that over the course of a year, I will probably be able to generate a lot more result than the quote-unquote super productive person. We don't want to confuse productivity with just kind of busy work, okay? I mean, your mind has been telling you that to succeed you must work harder and longer hours, right? And that, trust me, I do work long and I do work hard, but that thought that to succeed you have to work harder and longer, it's just nonsense. It has no foundation in reality. If somebody's worth $9 billion, are they working 9 billion times harder than you? No. So I found, at least, that when my personal and my business time is balanced, and again, admittedly, it's not always balanced, but when I can try to find that balance point, overall, at least probably psychologically, there's less conflict and stress, right? And you become more effective and get more done in less time. So working hard, it will make you successful, but it has little to do with big success in business, I found. Working with maximum effectiveness, adhering to the 80-20 rule, it will get you to big success. Work as hard only if you really hate what you're doing or if you don't plan properly and control your timeline. There's really nothing hard about what you do in your business, in this Amazon business, if you've chosen to do this because you find it enjoyable. And by the way, if you don't find this business enjoyable, then very, very high on your goals list should be to find a new business to start. Why spend 8 or 12 hours a day doing a business that's not personally rewarding and challenging and fun and thrilling and all that kind of stuff? It just, you live once, it doesn't make sense. So I would say in general, though, I do see people that get into this business, they take this business way too, seriously. Make it fun. I can guarantee you that 100 years from now, do you think anybody will give a crap how many hours you spent working in your Amazon business or what you did or did not accomplish? Probably not, hate to tell you. But I can tell you one thing, that right now everybody in your personal life does care about how much time and the quality of time you spend with them, you know? So longer work is not better necessarily. If you work fewer hours and have a very fulfilling personal life as well, doing the things you dream of doing and making, living fun, you will end up accomplishing more in your business life, right? So anyway, so I got off my high horse. That's just kind of the thought to carry through the month. And let's get right to the Q&A here. We'll start with Kathy Richardson. Hey, Kathy. She says, I have two products. One is doing okay, chugging along. The other one is stagnant. My marketing budget is modest, and I don't have enough products in stock to give away many at a time. Okay? From your experience, what would you recommend, please? Ditch the stagnant one and not throw any more money or time at it. Use the available marketing funds to source and promote a new product that fits with the brand. Yeah, when you're making a tactical decision in a business, you have to pretend like money is not the issue, because then you're not going to be making good tactical decisions. So ask yourself, if I had unlimited time and money, what is necessary to fix the problem or to grow this brand? Okay. Well, the answer is kind of staring you in the face, probably, right? Some products, if we look at the 80-20 curve, some products are going to be, they're doing okay, but they're not going to get you rich. And those are fine. You're always going to have that kind of like a standard deviation curve, if you can picture that. You're going to have several that do okay. You're going to have SKUs in your product lineup that do okay. You're going to have a 20% that bring in 80% of the money, right? And so probably the best tactic for you is to say, okay, how can I, as quickly as possible, and now we have to, back this out to reality, and also do this affordably as possible. How can I add 3 more SKUs to my product mix? Because what we are finding time and again is as we add more SKUs within the same brand, it becomes like the tide that rises all ships. People can and do click through and examine your other products and add them to your cart. So we have found there's multiplied benefit when we add more SKUs, and it's also kind of a theory that Amazon will tend to reward brands that bring more SKUs to their marketplace. Again, they've never stated that. I don't know if it's like chicken or the egg, but it does seem that the more SKUs we add, the more our rankings overall seem to improve. Again, is that because people are clicking through and buying other products, or just because Amazon rewards more SKUs? I don't know. But if you've ever had to be approved for one of their locked categories to sell, you'll notice that the standard template email actually specifically says, add lots of SKUs. Well, they clearly see that as important and one of their goals, and so kind of take that for what it is. Now, something that you might want to consider doing if funds are really tight is, this is the type of business that when you explain the concept to people, they get it right away. And so I found that it's very easy to find business partners for this Amazon business. So you might just want to talk to people in your sphere of influence, or even just make a Facebook post, not on, I don't mean on like one of the ASM groups, but I mean just make a post on your personal wallet. Just say, hey, our Amazon business is expanding, is really growing, and I'm looking for a partner. If you would love to be a partner on my new Amazon business and you have X amount to invest, please contact me privately. I believe this could be a very profitable venture for you. And you'd be shocked how many people, who know what you're doing or kind of get the general concept, will loan you money, and you have to cut them in. So great, give them 25% and make them put up 25,000 or 30,000 or what have you, because they're certainly going to make a lot more money investing in Kathy than they will in the stock market currently, right? All right. This is from Tim. He says, Ben, I'm about ready to begin building my customer email list. My Shopify. Oh, guys, I just want to make sure that you guys can all hear me okay. Can you just let me know? Just type in yes. Yep, 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 yep. Good. All right, thanks, guys. Okay, I'm about ready to begin building my customer email list. My Shopify store is now online. Have been selling on Amazon for 5 months. Cool. I'm collecting email addresses in my Shopify store and planning to use the append feature of Managed by Stats. We'll soon be using ClickMagick, which I understand also collects email addresses as a side benefit. And also plan to begin retargeting, which will be yet another source of email addresses. Is there a tool or methodology you use to manage these disparate email lists and merge them into a single manageable list? Well, okay, so I just want to make sure that I'm answering the proper question. So retargeting in and of itself isn't an email list, right? So it's a list that you can just run ads to, okay? So you want to put a retargeting pixel for Facebook and possibly, you know, for Google, blah, 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 in the, I can't remember if it's the header or the footer throughout your Shopify store, so that you're just building a custom audience, they call it, of everyone who's just landed on any page of your Shopify store, and you can retarget them. Now that is extremely, extremely profitable. And you know, you have a lot on your list here, but I would say if we had to use the 80-20 rule, that there's 2 things that I would do, and I would ignore the rest, at least short term. Number 1, a buyer is worth 100 times more value to you than a lead. So if I were to prioritize, I would say getting the Managed by Stats email append should be top of your priority list, because that's going to be your most valuable list. Now, what's interesting is that you can also use Managed by Stats to export every single customer record that has a phone number, and then you can upload that entire list to Facebook and create a custom audience from that. And so you're going to get far more hits by phone number than you will by email. Why? Well, because as good as these email append services are, they're only going to be able to capture 30-40% of the data matchup. However, when somebody orders something on Amazon, 100% of the people will provide you with their phone number. Now, you still want to do both, but just hear me out on this. What you can do is the following. So you export every single darn record, which you could do right now. It's super easy with Managed by Stats. And then you just have to make some fixes to the way that people have typed in their phone numbers, because it's just kind of a data pass-through. Whatever somebody types, whatever format they type in their phone number when they're placing the Amazon order is what shows up in your records. Okay, so if you're pretty good at spreadsheet, you know, manipulation, and I'm not. I actually had somebody do this for me, but they put them in a proper format so I could upload all those customer records to Facebook and build a custom audience. So, and you want to name that custom audience something that you'll remember. So it would be like, you know, your brand Amazon buyers, something simple. Okay. Now, after you get the email append, upload that as a separate file. Okay. And you're going to now try to match up by email. So now you have 2 custom audiences. The reason you do that is because there's a possibility that Facebook will not be able to match up by the phone number that somebody used, but they will by somebody's email. So now you have both. So when you're running an ad, let's say you're now launching a product, the very first money that you should be spending is just target an ad to the phone number and email custom audience that you built, because those are your buyers, those are people that recognize your brand, and that might be all you have to do if you have enough records to launch a product successfully. You can run the flash sale right to them and call it a day. Do not make them force opt-in. You don't need to for a flash sale. Okay, now secondarily, what I would do is then I would do exactly what you're saying. You want to then kind of in your mind get clear on how you're going to be managing your email list. So I suggest that you use one platform. I suggest that you use Aweber, okay? And you don't really have to worry about building like a giant master list. If you wanted to, it's very easy. They have an automation rule that says, what if somebody joins list A, automatically have them join list B, which, you know, list B theoretically would be your master list of all your leads or your master list of all your buyers, okay? But it's so darn easy in Aweber to create an email and say, target this list, oh, and also target this list, this list, this list, this list, this list, that you don't really have to worry about having a giant master or like a dozen individual lists, okay? So that's what I would do. Hope that was helpful. All right, Brad, by the way, I will, let's see. All right, so I'm gonna answer Jonas's question. He entered this into the GoToWebinar box. Sorry, forgot to email my question. Well, don't email it. Don't email it. You want to use the question submittal form. If you email it, you're going to get Emily's standard response. Use the damn form. But I know what you mean. You talk about the 3 types of days: rainmaker days, detail days, and free days. How do you manage this when you have a family? Oh, it's even more important when you have a family, because you know you have to carve out time to. Okay, you know, one thing that people conveniently overlook when I talk about the 3 types of days, and even, you know, even maybe you're overlooking this, is that high productivity is preceded by time off. I'm sure you've all experienced the post-vacation effect. You know, you go away on vacation, maybe even a long weekend with the spouse for 3 days, and you come back, and that Monday, the first day back at work, you know, you are kicking ass, right? Problems that would have stressed you out, you know, before going off vacation, they're bouncing off your chest like you're Superman. You're more creative. You're just more in the flow. So you start your schedule by first and foremost, you know, scheduling and prioritizing free days, and you got to take it seriously. And you got to look at personal time as an appointment that commands just as much respect and commitment in your schedule as Amazon-related tasks. So you know, I've made decisions in my life that, you know, throughout my career, from a business standpoint, where there's a conflict with something that I'd schedule, maybe a vacation, and I don't care what opportunity loss occurs, when I schedule something with my son or the spouse or a vacation, you know, I don't really care that much about money in general. I mean, I love business. I think it's fun. You know, and of course, you know, I need money to a certain extent, but my highest value in life is freedom. You know, I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to do what I want to do when I want to do it, all that kind of stuff. So money for me is not the great motivator. So I've never allowed business to interfere with, you know, scheduled the personal time. And that's, I believe you have to be militant about your personal time like that. Otherwise, of course, you know, business is always going to bleed over into those days. So you need 2 full days, 2 24-hour days minimum of free time, okay? The goal, of course, is to have 3 free days per week. I'm not there yet because I'm still in massive business building mode. I had that, you know, previously, but by choice, I've cut that back to 2 full, you know, free days. But like, for example, in November, every single year, you know, we completely unplug and we go to the island of St. Bart's, and it's happening this year. And believe me, I'm extremely busy. I will lose out on, you know, money-making opportunities, I'm sure, and I could care less. So anyway, if you are finding that you're not getting the 80-20 work done, that's where the Rainmaker Day now comes into play. So this is the second most important day. Now, you would think attending to your Amazon business would be the second most important. Rainmaker Day. So you book out a full day of Rainmaker Day. And when I say 24 hours, don't take it literally. I don't mean you're up 24 hours. I mean you're not allowed to combine days, or you're not doing it right. So you need one dedicated focus day where all you do is work on business building, marketing, and kind of promotional stuff. You know, marketing and advertising and promotion is what brings in the revenue into your Amazon business. And again, I'm going to quit calling it the Amazon business. What we're really in is the e-commerce business. Okay, so that might be, hey, one of the highest value things you can do. And again, you want to kind of go through your Rainmaker list. And by the way, I'm on Mac, so I use a program called Notes. Okay, and I literally have a note called Rainmaker Day Stuff, and it's just as stuff comes up that I'd like to do on a Rainmaker Day, I just add it to the list. It's like a giant brain dump, and I just kind of park it there. And then on the morning of my Rainmaker Day, I look at that and I say, what are the 3 most powerful 80-20 tasks I can do that will not grow me like 5% incrementally, but can double my business? Again, this is just kind of a conceptual thing, right? And then I tackle those. And I am pretty disciplined at doing that because in my work over the last 20 years with a lot of successful chiropractors and dentists in transforming some of their practices, they tell me time and time again that their adherence to the 3 types of days, and specifically to a Rainmaker Day, has literally doubled and tripled their personal income just by having a one day where they can carve out the most important work. It's really interesting because we all give lip service to how important various tasks are in our business, but do we have a dedicated day where we can focus on it? And then the 3rd type of days, plural, is what I call the detailed day. This is where you do all the stuff that you need to do, all the other stuff to be successful with your e-commerce business. Okay? All right, so I'm going to go back to the pre-submitted questions here. And by the way, I'm going to park it on this slide. I like looking at St. Bart's. Okay. Brad, I already answered that question on my webinar about Amazon terms of service and how we're tackling that. So I would refer you to that webinar if you haven't watched it. Okay. So Stephanie asked the question, if we're going to be driving traffic to the flash sale funnel, and then someone clicks on that flash sale funnel and they go to Amazon, will Amazon reward you with a little bump in ranking because they're sensing that we're sending outside paid traffic? And I don't really know. I don't really care because my goal with the flash sale funnel is to boost my ranking by moving a lot of product. So I wouldn't use the flash sale funnel solely as a way to try to get an incremental boost in my ranking, in the sense that that the A9 algorithm might be influenced because it senses outside traffic. If I'm going to do that, you do Google AdWords, you do YouTube ads, and you can set a very low budget, like $10 a day on your YouTube ads, and we'll see bumps from that. But yeah, the flash sale thing is not to send traffic signals to Amazon. It's solely to boost our daily velocity and then get the natural looking reviews that'll come through from that, blah, 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 blah. Good question, though. Okay, so Matthew wants to know how to vote up or vote down reviews in light of the new Amazon terms of service. Well, I'm sure that Amazon technically from day one does not want any of us to manipulate the placement of reviews, but like everything, I'm sure everything we do is like technically against some terms of service in some way. You can look at a site called Fiverr, and Fiverr, I think. It's a weird spelling, but for $5 or whatever, very inexpensively, you can find people that will vote up and vote down your reviews for you. So I would say if specifically he said that Amazing.com has removed the ability for the Alliance tool to vote on reviews. I never liked the Alliance tool ever. I've never used it. It's a footprint. I think it's insane to be using it for the same reason that I said don't be using these big public like review clubs and blah, 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 blah. I'm sounding like a broken record with that stuff. But, you know, it just anything that leaves a giant, obvious smack in the face type footprint, you don't want to involve yourself in. I mean, why the hell couldn't you know, a mole from Amazon literally, and they probably have bought, you know, the Amazing Selling Machine, and they could just quickly look at people that have jobs and clients tool them. It's just super easy to bust that stuff. So again, you might not want to ever use that tool in general. Okay. So Marcia says, I love your webinars, are the best investment along with ASM. Thank you. Here's my question. I understand that Amazon is in the middle of adjusting some rules. Certain reviews should wait a member of Thomason for reviews. Does this also go for Amazon professional reviewers? Can you talk about this issue? Yeah. Okay. So again, all this is like, you know, your business, your choice kind of stuff. So I can only speak to my opinion, and, you know, what Amazon chooses to do or not to do, no one really knows. In my opinion, Thomason is amazing, and you're not paying for a review on Thomason. But keep in mind, there's a footprint there, okay? So I use Thomason for several things, and we're to the point that we have an in-house list, okay, of people that we trust that have left us reviews before. And we don't pay for reviews ever. We don't insist that they leave us a 5-star review, none of that stuff, that we will contact and, you know, that are in that kind of category, that niche that we're in. So again, me personally, I still love Thomason. Their dashboard is really buggy and broken, and it's frustrating to a lot of people. Now, as far as using Review Sniper to contact Amazon top 10,000 reviewers, we're still doing that. And I, you know, I think Review Sniper is a fantastic tool. I think, you know, all of you should be using it. And I highly doubt that contacting like an Amazon, you know, top 1,000 and asking them to review your product, that would get you banned. You know, I mean, Amazon has a whole program that's kind of predicated on this called Vine, okay? So again, my comfort level is yes, I personally am so comfortable with Thomason, and I'm personally still very comfortable using the Review Sniper tool to contact the Amazon top 10,000 reviewers. And I think in light of the changes, I think those two tools will become even more valuable for you. So Neaton said the ASM ranker super URL now not really much effective. What are the best options? Well, who says they're not effective? They're very effective still. But, you know, before people started using those, they were able to rank very well just using the regular old, you know, canonical Amazon URL, okay? Assuming that you've done your keyword research like I teach, and you have those keywords in the title and, you know, sprinkled in throughout the title, your bullet points, and the search fields, okay? There does seem to be an order of priority. You want to put your best keywords you want to rank for in your title, second best in your bullet, and then third place would be in the search fields, okay? But I mean, you've seen me even before these Amazon terms of service changes. When I was teaching my video, the Facebook video ads, I was just using the raw Facebook link, and it worked for us, okay? So I think either or. I wouldn't freak out that you can't use the super URL. You can use it. You just don't want to hammer like one keyword, okay? And it'd be very easy, and Amazon may very well depreciate the usefulness of a super URL. I mean, it's just a simple matter of coding and they could just say, okay, you know, we won't allow this to rank or something. I don't know what they would do. But yeah, you don't want to hammer one or two keywords with a 500 unit giveaway with a super URL. It's just too obvious of a footprint. Okay. Okay. So Ken wanted to know about a way to get his initial base of 20 reviews. He writes, I've been successful in using the viral app to get my initial reviews for product number 1, but now I'm considering Review Sniper for more credible and substantive reviews, or the Facebook carousel ad strategy in lieu of viral app. So I think the best thing to do, since you don't have a huge product line, is to go old school with it. I mean, for probably the first 4 products that we launched, I just went back to the well of friends and family and said, hey, coming out with product number 2. Here's the link. Can you all buy this tomorrow at the same time, please? And, you know, type in blah, blah, blah into the search bar, you know, brand name and a keyword. Click through, here's an image of what the product looks like. Buy it, and then email me your receipt, and I'll reimburse you. Now, you know, technically, does that violate Amazon terms of service? Well, yeah, because you're not supposed to, you know, look, all this stuff, right, is like against Amazon terms of service technically, but the spirit of the terms of service, the way that I interpret it, is they don't want people doing 1,000 unit giveaways using a super URL to blatantly, you know, spam their listing. That's how Amazon looks at it, with a bunch of quote unquote fake reviews, even if they're real, because I've never ever posted a fake review because I don't need to. But you know, that's kind of the spirit of the terms of service. Are they going to ban you for having 20 friends and family members buy your units at full price? I doubt it. If you know, I mean, and these are friends and family, so you don't really have to worry about any issues if you're going to compensate them. You know, it's all done by email and blah, 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 blah. Just again, your business, your choice, but that's what I would do. Secondarily, I'm always, at the same time that I'm launching a product to friends and family, and now to our, you know, in-house review club, okay, I'm always turning on the Review Sniper campaign. And by turning on, I just mean, you know, I tell my full-time marketing assistant, Mahela, I say, hey, you know, we, you know, start getting, you know, contacting Amazon top 10,000 reviewers that tend to like this type of product, that tend to leave 5-star reviews, and see if they want to leave us a review in exchange for a product. Okay. Again, technically, all this stuff violates terms of service. Every damn thing we do. Having a good title on your listing violates Amazon terms of service. But I mean, give me a break. I mean, I don't want to sit there and just die on the vine, you know, like a cloistered nun, afraid to take any action that is, you know, semi-aggressive to build my business, right? It kind of goes back to what we were saying during the webinar. I said that we really should not even be calling this the Amazon business anymore, because, you know, if our entire operation is predicated solely on Amazon and we're at the mercy of Amazon, that ain't a business. That's just a deal. That's not a business. No one would ever buy that business. So we all should, either now or a goal by year end, be building our own e-commerce store, and we should be building our own house lists, and we should be driving traffic. You know, previous methods was driving traffic to Amazon, but now really, why the hell are we getting Amazon richer? Why don't we drive that same traffic to our Shopify listing? And why don't we look at the conversion rate on our own listing pages and think of the power and flexibility you have to build out those listings? You have unlimited images, unlimited videos, all the frustrating limitations that Amazon puts on us because it's not our platform. They don't exist on our own e-commerce store. That being said, we're always going to be using Amazon as a phenomenal way to launch a product, to generate a buzz, and to put our branded website on the packaging and the inserts. But the, you know, without even trying, we're getting orders every single week to our Shopify site just because our name's out there so much now through Thomason and blogs and YouTube videos and package inserts and visibility on Amazon. So it's pretty interesting, right? So that's the evolution of it. I'm just reading a question here. Yeah, Mark, that is a question for Paul Harvey. Okay, so Dan had a question about brand registering. He said that I said previously the registry doesn't offer much protection against hijacking. Well, frankly, it offers no protection. I mean, really, no protection against hijacking. It just gives you bragging rights when you contact Seller Central. You say, I am the manufacturer, we and the sole distributor of this. We do not allow others to distribute our product. We're only using Amazon as our main distribution channel. We believe this person is selling counterfeits because we do not allow anyone else to sell on our listing. In fact, we are brand registered under blah, blah, blah name. Okay, so that is enough of a benefit that you should all be brand registered. Okay, but it doesn't like anoint you as one of the untouchables as far as hijacking. Okay, it just helps you build the argument when you contact Seller Central and that you are the manufacturer. You are the brand behind that listing. Okay. You're concerned about like if Amazon removed your Seller Central account. Well, okay, so the answer to that, he's asking a hypothetical question that if they closed down Seller Central account and he was brand registered, could he bring the brand over to a second new non-linked like Seller Central account? And I have no clue. It's an interesting question, but I suggest you don't get yourself banned. How's that for an answer? That's the question. Hey, if a full moon over Osiris and it's a Tuesday, what then? Well, I don't know because we're talking pure hypothetical. It's like, well, what? But Ben, what if X, Y, and Z happens? I don't know. Has it happened? Well, no. Then don't worry about it. All right. All right. All right. Yeah. Several of the questions were submitted early in the month of service, so I've already answered that in a webinar. Chris, I think already answered your question about the best way to handle the giveaways and review. I covered this just for your guys' reference. If you missed the webinar replay that I did Tuesday, check that out. I started off the whole webinar talking about exactly what we're doing and what you should do. Okay, Beth says, I saw one of your older live presentations where you were only doing air, shipping by air, and weren't ready to do shipping by sea. Yeah, that was over a year ago. So we're almost exclusively shipping by ocean freight now. Currently shipping by air and want to transition to shipping by sea, but I know the process is much more complicated. Okay, let me just comment on that. I had this, I made the same mistake. I told myself for some reason that, oh God, freight forwarding is like this super complex, scary thing. Frankly, it is as easy as shipping by air. Isn't that crazy? Because you don't want to touch any of the paperwork yourself. You don't want to deal with any of the ports yourself. You don't want to deal with anything in China yourself. I just use a freight forwarder. And everyone wants to know who my freight forwarder is. I can't because somebody who's sort of a big name now in ASM gave me his freight forwarder, and actually we have somebody who's in the collective also kind of confided in me their freight forwarder. So I have two freight forwarders that I use, but quite frankly there's a laundry list of equally good freight forwarders out there that you just gotta call them up and talk to them. I mean, there's a woman named Pam from, I think it's HY Logistics in South Carolina, who she now attends my lectures in Vegas because, she's become like a specialist, and she's a freight forwarder, and she completely understands what is needed with Amazon sellers. So but I always say triple bid this stuff because there's a ton of services out there with freight forwarding. You want door-to-door service, okay? The only thing you need to do is explain that you're going to be shipping, ultimately, once it arrives in port, that they have to have a warehouse that can prep the goods for arrival to Amazon, right? So if you're going to ship it from your warehouse, you have two options. They can just kind of store the stuff for you, and they can ship it by UPS ground, and you get the wonderful Amazon discounted UPS rates. And so you just email them and say, hey, ship over 10 more cartons, okay? Because some of us, so I have multiple Seller Central accounts. In my season, we don't have any inventory kind of capacity problems, but we have a newer Seller Central account, and they've capped the number of units that we can ship. Well, we're expanding our SKUs very aggressively, and that's a problem. If we were forced to ship all of our goods directly, like 3,000 units at a time, boom, 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 we'd fill up that capacity with just 3 products currently, because they want to see a certain number of turnover in a 120-day period. Well, it's a brand new account, so what we do, and what we're doing is, we warehouse that we, well, it's not our warehouse, it's through our freight forwarder. It's their warehouse. And tell them what the problem was, and they're just going to store our stuff. And that we can send in 300 units at a time of several products. Now, we have 3,000 units being stored, but not at the FBA warehouses. And by the way, just so you guys know, my God, that must cost you all kinds of extra money. Not really, because have you ever looked at what FBA charges us? Warehouse our goods. It's a lot of money, guys. It's a lot of money. Okay. So anyway, let me continue your question. Sorry. Okay. So she was wondering if I would cover this in a fast track webinar. I already have. I did. I can't remember if I did it, but you just want to look at at some of the previous sessions that you purchased, and I believe it might have been fall, and I did a complete presentation, exactly how it works. I actually had Pam on the webinar, kind of explaining the process and answering questions. I provided her contact information, all that kind of stuff. But it really is darn simple. Beth, you just want to, in my opinion, I would just look in your own town or your biggest city, really. Type in freight forwarder and city into Google, and I would pick up the phone. I would call 10 of them and say, look. Once I arrive at a warehouse, you guys handle everything. Do you guys do this kind of thing? And then it's got to be taken to one of your warehouses. And then there's certain prep and labeling that's got to be able to do. Now, some of them will say, oh, sorry, we don't do that. We'll do that. Fine, you just hang up. They'll say bye and then hang up. But you'll get this more often than not lately. You'll say, oh, yeah, we do this for several people that sell it, and we understand the palletization rules that Amazon has and all that kind of stuff. Okay? By the way, thanks for the nice comment that you made. I really appreciate it. It's the best investment training she's made since 2006. So at your ass, I'm going to repeat that. Thank you. Okay, so Luke Walker says a very lengthy list of email using the email service for managed by stats. Awesome. I've yet to use them. Boo! Come on, and coupons or something. After you send the initial send pulse, do you delete the emails of the customers who didn't opt in, or do you try them again later? I actually keep reusing that list. So let's say we're going to launch a product. We're going to give them a flash sale discount. I would hit up all the people that did do the double opt-in, but guess what? I'm still also hitting everybody on the send pulse list. It's kind of like, your business, your choice kind of thing. I mean, could it be to some of them? Yeah, but they can always opt out, right? Uh, I'm finally about to launch my site. Should I make the launch the subject of my send mail? Yeah, oh, sure. Yeah, I definitely would. You might want to make a special coupon, though. What's in it? So say, blah, blah, blah.com is now live and open for business, right? And to celebrate the launch, and we really want your feedback on it, and you've been a loyal customer since day one, and we really appreciate and value your business, yada, yada, yada. We really wanted to do something special for our customers like you. And so if you go to our site in the next 48 hours, you can use this coupon that's good for 15% off or 25% off. Again, just to kind of commemorate the launch of our e-commerce site, and you have been loyal to us and off the ground. If you have any questions, let me know. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. And Brett, yeah, my audio is wired, so I think it's a good webinar issue. How do you know what are your ads as a specific keyword? Our sales track specific keyword, something other than ads. Well, the best answer is to take a look at what I just covered in the fourth module of Tuesdays. I actually covered how to find out what the coupons are that have come through Amazon. And but just always keep in mind that those are not accurate. You're going to have to add another 30%, because a lot of people don't use those coupons. About a third of the people actually don't use the freaking coupons because they think it's already discounted the way that displays prices. It's pretty wild, right? But unfortunately, there's no way to track, when you're doing paid ads to Amazon, because Amazon does not allow us any access to keywords that are converting, and they don't allow us to put any pixels on any of their pages or blah, 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 blah. So to a certain extent, you're flying blind. And my analyticals out there hate what I'm going to say next, but the only real way to do it is to see what your baseline average sales are. And then if you see a bump up of like an extra 5 units a day, 10 units a day, since you turned on, let's say, Facebook ads, you have to attribute that increase to your Facebook ads. Then if you're tracking through like your coupons, that'll give you another good idea as well. But other than that, you're ultimately somewhat flying blind, which actually, just not to beat this dead horse, it's, again, more of a compelling, urgent reason to, again, build your own e-commerce site. And we're using Shopify, and we happen to be using Ezra's theme that I like a lot. But, his theme isn't the only game in town by any stretch. If you're in a real tight budget, just there's a gazillion awesome looking Shopify themes. I don't know offhand what they are because we just went with the Ezra theme, but you can see, just type in best Shopify theme and you'll see there's all kinds of demo sites you can check out, and a lot of them are free, some cost a couple bucks, whatever. But when you start sending traffic direct to your Shopify listing, you can install all that. You can do retargeting campaigns, right? Look, guys, retargeting campaigns are some of the most profitable marketing you can do. It's kind of old school, like what we used to do is one way that we would oftentimes grow a chiropractic or a dental office very, very big, was we'd give them these lead generation ads to run in our local newspapers. This is back in the day when people actually read newspapers, right? And it would say, have excruciating sciatica pain. Did you know that there's an all-natural solution that can relieve your pain? Call for our free report called blah, 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 how to reduce sciatica pain in 3 easy steps, by calling a toll-free 24-hour hotline, 1-800 blah, 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 blah. People would call up and they would leave their name and their address, right? And then we would mail out the report, which is frankly just a glorified sales letter. It would give some content, and it would give a call to action with a free office visit or a free consultation coupon in there. And what we found out very, very quickly was that if you just sent one step to a lead, the conversion rate might only be 5 or 10%. But we could double the conversion rate by 5 days later sending out step 2 through the mail. And then 5 days after that, step 3. And we got to the point where these doctors were sending 12 follow-up sequences by US mail. And they were able to double or even more. Like every time they would follow up with the lead, a certain percentage would come in. So they were getting some astounding conversion rates, 28% and higher. But if we had just stopped with one follow-up, 5% or whatever conversion rate, man, you're leaving a lot of money on the table. Well, retargeting is the modern day version of that. How often have you, just out of curiosity, checked something out, but you didn't buy it on the very first visit to a website or even a store, right? But over time, as that seed is planted and you keep reading about it or you're seeing ads about it and you're being nudged further and further, finally, after a certain point, you reach a tipping point and you pull the trigger and buy. So retargeting, I said this, and I'm not the person who invented this next quote that I'm going to give you, but it's been my experience too, that retargeting oftentimes brings a 10-to-1 ROI. That means for every $1 that you're going to spend in retargeting, in other words, chasing around people that were interested but maybe didn't buy yet, you're going to make $10 back for every dollar invested, right? So very, very powerful. And anyway, all that's possible with your own like Shopify store and driving traffic to that, because you can put the retargeting pixels on this specific listing page. Then you chase them around everywhere on Google and on Facebook with, hey, we know you want this product. Would a 15% off discount help? Click here. Offer expires soon. That kind of thing. All right. Anyway, let's see. Next question. Okay, so Ben wants to know, whenever Amazon submits a refund, I get an automated refund. Sorry, guys, I just need to scoot over my screen here. 1 second. Yeah, so whenever Amazon submits a refund, I get an automated refund initiation notification from Seller Central. I recently hired a VA and would like her to follow up with these refunds to see if there's any way we can assist them, as well to find out the reason for the refund. How do I change the email address so these refund notifications can be sent to her instead? Well, what you can do is you set up a new email and have it sent to you, and also automatically have it forwarded as well to your VA, and then you make that the main email for your Seller Central account. Okay. Okay, I already answered this. H. Misra, she had some questions about Amazon TOS. I already covered that on the webinar. Ian has a very detailed kind of technical question about using ClickMagick. I've documented everything in the SOPs, literally everything. So if something isn't working right, I don't want to become everyone's unpaid tech support for some other company that's earning money from this, right? So don't contact me. You want to contact their support. Their support's really good. So if you think something isn't firing off properly for you, just send a support email to them, because it might be an issue on their end. But I have not had any problems with the ClickMagick bar not appearing. Okay, so my guess would be that you might have a browser that maybe is blocking something, or it's just acting weird, like people that are on PCs. Websites like all kind of crazy people that are still using Internet Explorer. So I would view it through the most, more common browsers that are a bit more robust, and see if you can replicate the error there, and then just take a screenshot of of the problem and contact ClickMagic. Or just say, hey, will you please look at this and see if I've made any mistake? Okay, so Tanya kind of has a shipping related question. When these suppliers are giving quotes of FOB, they want to know which port to quote to. No. You don't want them doing any of that. You want to use a door-to-door freight forwarder, okay? Door-to-door freight forwarder. And she wants to know specifically a freight forwarder. Let me see if I can find Pam's information for you. I think it's HY Logistics. I can never remember. Let me just check something real quick. Sorry, just one moment. Hey, if anybody knows, oh yeah, sorry. Thanks guys, HYC Logistics. Let me just type it in here. HYC, there we go. Here, let me show my screen. 1 second here. Okay, there you go. HYC Logistics. Ask for Pam. Just tell her that you're a Ben Cummings student. I don't get anything for referring people. It's just she's very familiar with working with fast trackers, and her phone number is 901-365-7700. You don't want to get into handling all the little pieces, or it'll just drive you nuts. There's literally not enough hours in a day. But that being said, I would talk to Pam, and I would also still call several local people, see if they can do door-to-door, see if they can handle the Amazon to the warehouse shipping, because there is some customization needed once the goods arrive to the warehouse, and just see how the quotes compare. Like initially, though, you might want to start using Pam. That'll buy you some time to maybe start getting in those quotes and things like that, if that makes sense. So, all right. Okay, already covered. A lot of these questions are asking about Amazon TOS that I already covered in detail. Mark, my answer to your question about ramping up for a Q4 sales would be to use the flash sale funnel to do maintenance relaunches for some of your products that aren't ranking as well for keywords. Okay. Maria, I don't quite understand your question. I'll read it here. Ben, I'm in the process of sourcing my second product. I'd like to know how much importance I should place in the results of number of products when searching on Amazon. You mean like if you type in dog harness, if it says there's 8,500 results for that, that doesn't factor into my analysis at all. Because if you've noticed, once you get past the third or fourth page, Amazon puts in all kinds of unrelated products just to get you to, buy stuff. So it might be like literally a CD of music from a company called, I don't know, dog something or other, or just all kinds of crazy products that are kind of off point once you get past the first few pages from my experience. So no, short answer is no, that should not factor at all into your decision making of whether to source a product. I know what she's asking. She's saying, that this might have something to do with competition and blah, 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 but no. I mean, it might, but no, I don't factor that in. Competition doesn't scare me. If there was no competition, that would scare me. That means it's probably not a great selling product from my experience. Okay, already answered the Amazon terms of service. I'm just going to skip all the questions that we're getting about terms of service here. Dan submitted a second question, and he talked about, he's saying that on my how to negotiate rock bottom prices from China, uh, that we want to give a simple website to give to suppliers to help them with giving them the impression that we're a large company. Yeah, I literally just did a one-page website from a free WordPress theme that just said, and made myself sound important, and like that we source products for several brands, and I literally just made up like 4 brand names. You can use a service like this where you just type in, I don't know, dog lovers are us, right? And like, okay, there you go. So that's one of our brands, right? And I would do another brand that I just make up. So I'd have like 4 brands. And oh, by the way, this is an awesome site called withoomph.com. This is the spelling, with oomph. Awesome way. I mean, look how kick-ass these, and you can change the colors. This didn't work on my webinar for some reason, but pretty cool, right? And then they just, charge you. Look at it. I'll show you what it looks like, and here's what they would charge you. $30, done. Just add that, and for $30 you have a brand. It's pretty crazy, right? So anyway, yeah, just a simple one-page website. And on ours, we actually said, hey, we're looking to hire people that can get us into retail. And if you have experience with that, please contact our team, and blah 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 blah. Just frankly, just a bunch of horseshit that gave me some authority, and I could put that in the email signature, right? So it would say, we are a large buyer and repeat buyer, large volume buyer and repeat buyer. Once we are comfortable with a manufacturer, we are considering getting bids from several manufacturers of blank product, blah 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 blah. Sincerely, Joe Blow, co-founder, and you put the link to your one-page website in there. That this kind of credentials that credentializes you. And then, I'm sure they're like, ooh, but hey, every little bit helps. All right, let me read the next question. All right, another question about Amazon TOS, covered that. Another question about TOS, covered that. Okay, Henry from California says, how do you train your VA to do customer service and how to respond in all types of situations? So what systems do we have in place? I can answer that very easily. Me and my wife, we did all the customer service when we started our business, and from day one, we started keeping up. We started keeping a list of kind of email templates, because look, you're not going to get a million different emails. There's probably 4 email templates that will cover 90% of the incoming questions that you'll get. Hey, I haven't gotten my product yet. Boom, there's an email template for that, and that would work for all your product lines. If you start getting questions about how to use a product, boom, you're not going to get 1,000 questions. You'll probably get 1 or 2 questions, and you just come up with a great reply for that. Okay, and then we document everything. We're now using a service called Evernote. We actually buy an annual subscription to Evernote for business. Okay, there's one for personal, but you want to do a slightly more expensive version called Evernote for business, because you don't want, like, let's say an employee doesn't work out, you don't want them going rogue on you and deleting all these great SOPs that you built. And you just have what's called a notebook in Evernote called customer service dash and then the product name. Because if you have like several products, they can quickly go in and they can answer the technical question related to the dog harness, and then there's another notebook for questions related to the dog bowl, for example. Okay, but that's how we keep everything organized. Very, very easy to do. And then I believe you should hire a native English speaker in the U.S. if possible, or like Canada, but like you don't want to use somebody from the Philippines. I mean, I do, but only because I've employed this person for years, and his English is frankly better than most of my friends and family. But you know, if I didn't already know and trust him, I definitely would have gone stateside. I would have found somebody off hiremymom.com, or I would have run a job on Elance, and I would have hired somebody from the U.S., ideally like a stay-at-home mom who could work 4 or 5 hours a day for me, because you're not going to have that much outbound emails, and that's what I would do. More and more, people seem to be getting great results of just posting something on Facebook and just saying, hey, if does anybody know of a super duper reliable stay-at-home mom who could handle, you know, all my customer service for our e-commerce business? And people are finding great results going that way as well. Okay. Okay, so Nick is wanting to implement an insert, like a product insert, and is worried about Amazon not liking that. Again, you know, technically, I'm sure we're all violating terms of service when we advertise a website on the packaging and on an insert. But as a practical matter, I've not heard a single instance where Amazon has slapped anybody on the wrist for doing that. You just, again, all this is kind of, you know, kind of common sense rule applies. You don't want to make it obvious and kind of make them look foolish. You want to kind of fly underneath the radar. You want to have it inside the product packaging. Don't even mention Amazon. Just say, hey, you know, like I said, I think the use of selfies on the backside, you know, you could insert just like a folded business card. On the backside, just have a wall of happy smiling selfies, and on the other side, you just write, you know, would you like to be a product tester and get the chance to get some of our products for free and or exclusive discounts? Visit this website. Something as simple as that. So I think as a practical matter, Amazon doesn't really care. I think they are growing so much that they have higher priorities than to worry about if a URL is on, you know, product packaging. I mean, realistically, I would say 99% of the retail packaging out there has URLs for, you know, customer support reasons, and the smart ones are using package inserts. So, hate to say it, but one of those things that falls under the genre of, you know, your business, your choice. Um, so Lewis from Romania says he's got two sets of people: people that have bought his products for $1, and people that then also migrated to his review club. So he says he's got two questions. Do you do anything with people that bought the $1 product but did not join the review club? Yeah. So nowadays, when we launch a product, we are notifying everybody, whether, you know, they bought it for $1, and that was it, or they bought it for $1 and joined the review club. We're hitting up both lists, and we're letting them know now about a hot new product from the same brand that they bought previously from, that they can get for the next 48 hours at a massive discount. This coupon expires on thus such a date, yada yada yada. Okay. And he writes, do you ever use your review club to re-rank a product instead of using Facebook? Oh yeah. We will do like a maintenance relaunch. So like one very powerful tactic is look at your Amazon ads, and we identify where we're getting massive ROI. It might be for like 3 keywords, but we might not be ranking well for those because we didn't know that we were making such massive ROI. That's typically what I do. I will target like a couple of those high ROI keywords that oftentimes don't require many giveaways or discounted products to rank for those. Jamie, I think I answered your question. She writes, what's the best system to set up all our SOPs for VAs and future staff? I would use Evernote. I used to use this service called, let's see, Business Documentation Software from Work the System. Well, here's two choices. We used to use this one. This is very good. It's called Business Documentation Software. Just go to workthesystem.com. By the way, if you haven't read the book Work the System, highly recommend you do so. But this is pretty darn cool because it basically provides a dashboard that you can have employees log into. You can give them, let me just close this pop-up. Well, anyway, you can give them access to edit or not, just view it. And so you can build your SOPs through this dashboard. But we're frankly now not using that anymore. We're using Evernote. We're using Evernote for Business, as I've already mentioned, and you can organize in things called notebooks. I can't remember if I mentioned why you want to spend a little extra to get Evernote for Business, and that is because it allows you to have more control over your SOPs so that employees that come and go, they're not screwing up your SOPs. You can allow them access, you can allow them editing or not, all that kind of stuff. And we are buying Evernote software for every employee because they're expected to either make SOPs on tasks or to look at SOPs. And you can, with one click, you can share SOPs with employees within your company. It's pretty cool. Evernote, you know, I honestly, I was kind of behind the times. I had never used Evernote. And in May, I started using Evernote for a training that we did. We did a really expensive training in Iowa that was really amazing. It was just a one-off training called the Iowa Traffic Intensive. And there's so much going on that I wanted to be able to provide everyone with these SOPs. And I was just like floored of how powerful they were. And so I actually started building SOPs and having employees build SOPs for tasks. Okay. Let's go back to that gorgeous water scene. Okay, so Ulrich from Germany says that he's recently formed an LLC, a new entity, and he's worried about contacting Seller Central about the change. Like he doesn't want his account closed. You don't have to worry about that. You literally can just update those details in the settings, and then they'll send you an email confirming this, okay? We just recently did this. We had several brands under one corporation, but we wanted to separate out everything, not only for taxation purposes, but for liability, you know, reasons as well, and you know, for asset protection. So we had to update all of our Seller Central accounts. We changed the credit cards, we changed the business name, we changed the addresses, and it was not a problem. It's literally you just make a name change. If they were to ever contact you, you just say, you know, for taxation purposes, we formed an LLC. It was just an entity name change only. Blah 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 blah. But I don't think you should have an issue. At least we didn't. Greg poses an interesting question. I've never had this before. It has to do with insurance. He borrowed money from a bank to expand his inventory before the holidays, with some of the inventory as collateral. Smart move, by the way. That was a good move. They want me to insure the inventory against loss while in the Amazon warehouse. Oh, Jesus. What a pain, right? Any suggestions on how to handle this request? By the way, great coaching. Unlikely I would have been successful without your help. Oh, well, thanks for that. But back to your question. I don't have anybody I can refer you to, but I would literally just go on Google, type in your city name, and just type in commercial insurance broker. And just like I advised about calling like several freight forwarders, I would just call several of the commercial brokers and start getting quotes ASAP, because let's say you posted this on the 23rd yesterday, so you really want to place those inventory orders. It might frankly already be too late, because remember, they got to manufacture it and ship it, and the ports are extra busy, and then you got to get into Amazon. So, you know, time is your enemy, not your friend on this one. And, you know, it's not like they can write an insurance policy in a day. I mean, maybe they can, but you want to get that going. So I would say as soon as we're done with our webinar today, you should be calling local commercial brokers and start getting quotes. But sorry to hear that. What a pain they're making get insurance for that. That's weird. Nate says, my BSR is much better than several other products on page 1, yet my product's on page 7. Why would that be? I don't even look at BSR, guys. BSR is interesting, but it's irrelevant for where I'm ranking for keywords, right? So I don't really care ever what my BSR is, but what I want to see is how I'm ranking for the keywords. The reason you're not ranking for the keywords is because you have not, or Amazon A9 does not consider your product as relevant as other competition for that keyword, right? So, I mean, I've covered this exhaustively of how to manipulate things, and you do flash sales, right? And again, nowadays you got to be a little careful with this, but you got to put, well, ideally you're using a super URL, but you're rotating several keywords so it's not as large of a footprint. Again, technically it's violating terms of service. All this stuff is, right? But you basically have to sell a product through that keyword search for Amazon to perceive your product as highly relevant for that keyword. I mean, that's kind of the crux of it all, isn't it? So that should be your focus, not BSR. Steven says, I received an invitation for one of my products to participate in the FBA holiday flash deals. Yeah, we got those too. That's freaking awesome. You absolutely want to do it. Flash deals are incredibly powerful and successful around the holidays. You want to do like a 20% off, assuming you have good margins, and I would go for it. You got to be careful though. Depending on when they run your flash sale, your flash sale, your FBA lightning deal, you don't want to sell out of your inventory. So you might want to limit, the number of units that you give away. I definitely would not ignore it. It's like found money. And it should give you a boost in your ranking too. Not always, but we were recently invited to do lightning deals, and we moved a lot of units for several of our products, and it was literally like found money, right? Already covered extensively the Amazon TOS in my webinar, so we'll skip that. Okay, Brandon poses a good question. He says, I'm getting ready to launch a Shopify store, and I'm wondering if you've adjusted your VIP Club landing page now that you have a Shopify store. So by adjust, I'm not quite sure what you mean, but like what we do is in our package inserts now, we drive them to a one-page a page on our domain, okay, where we invite them to join our VIP club. Now, if you're asking, do I need to adjust it? Like, in other words, well, no. I mean, you don't really need to adjust it. What you'll do, if you can kind of picture this, only people that bought from us do we want on this VIP list, right? So the VIP web page is really only going to be used technically to take the customers off of Amazon and onto your house list, your email list. Okay, you don't need to do that with the Shopify store. Why? Because you have full customer records, so you automatically know what their email addresses are. Does that make sense? So you could have a special, like, I mean, I recommend that you do have some type of opt-in form, like join our our blah 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 club that you put on your homepage of your Shopify store. That is, I think, right out of the box, part of Ezra's theme. But that's not for your buyers, right? The buyers are on a separate list, on an email list of all your buyers, and they get, they're your most valuable names. But anybody who lands on your Shopify store, like, basically, if they click on join the blah 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 club and get an instant 15% off coupon, that's great for cold traffic that found their way to your site. Okay. Anyway, that is what I would do. So Mark says, with regard to Ishan's tactic that he taught, Ishan is the guy who is in our collective mastermind, and he shared a killer tactic where you analyze your Amazon ads and you take the highest ROI keywords and move those into your title. And so he wants to know, why couldn't we just go for any high impression keywords and not just the ones with low ACoS? Well, the theory here is that just because you have a lot of impressions, your conversion rate might not be good at all. And so what is indicative of what keywords are most resonating with the buyers is a low ACoS, because that means they're your highest ROI keywords. So high impression isn't all that valuable to me. I mean, your listing might suck for whatever reason and not resonate with a super high impression keyword. What you should really focus in on, in my opinion, and this applies also to maintenance relaunches, but germane to your question, is you want the top 2 or 3 or 4 lowest ACoS keywords. Okay. So anyway, that would be my answer for you. So Giancarlo says, what is the most effective way to open up a new Amazon Seller Central account for my partner and I? If you already have an existing Seller Central account, I found it very easy to open up additional ones. You just have to write them an email and request permission, and you have to, though, give a good reason. And the reason is that you have a division of your company that's a different brand, and for accounting and legal purposes, you'd like to request a second separate Seller Central account. And in that email, we always say, and we understand that we need a separate bank account for this, which we have already set up, and we will not be selling products from between one Seller Central account or the other. So the products will remain within their separate Seller Central accounts, yada, yada, yada. And we've always gotten approval. They just want to know what's going on. What they don't want to see is that, you're opening up multiple Seller Central accounts, not telling them, because they think that you're trying to pull fraud, that you're trying to literally sell counterfeit items, and then you'll quickly shut it down. Trust me, they've seen it all. So that's why they're kind of ultra protective. But as long as you get their permission, and I found it very easy to do so, you're A-okay. Link rotator. Okay, so I gave away a link rotator that I had custom built a few months ago. I can't remember what month that is. It's very easy just to kind of quickly look through the dashboard, and everyone says, Ben, put together some giant master menu. I don't have time, because you can just as easily quickly download the slides, and usually like the 3rd or 4th slide in is always like what is covered on that month's call. So just the only thing you have to download and save in a folder are all of the slides. They're saved as a PDF, and that becomes your menu. So anyway, I did give away the software that we use, so that's free. ClickMagick, the service that I mentioned last month, they have a built-in link rotator as well that you can use. It's frankly, would be easier to use because you don't have to install anything. It's just built into their system. Okay. We had another question about lightning deals, and I wouldn't play with my price. Like, I wouldn't move it up and then have a fake discount. I would just do a nice, healthy discount. I think, at least in the emails we got, Amazon attached a spreadsheet and actually showed us what like 20% off would look like, 25% off, blah, blah, blah. We've always done 20% off. But if you have like a dead product that you just frankly think's a dog, you could be very aggressive with your pricing and probably move a lot of inventory, and you'll probably do quite well with that. And as far as inventory, like how many you should give away, it really depends on how much you have in stock. If you have like 1,000 units in stock and that's all you have for the holidays, I'd probably only give away 300 units. Not give away, but I'd probably only offer 300 units at that price. But it really just depends, you know. If you have 1,000 units and you have 2,000 more coming in over the next month, then help, maybe, maybe make it for 1,000 units because you know you have 2,000 that are on its way, so you have plenty for the holidays, that kind of thing. Um, so someone else, Al, asked a question also related to Seller Central accounts. Blah 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 blah. I'll skip the buildup of his question, but he says I would need to start another brand, but it would be in the same Amazon Seller Central account. Is this not a good idea? As I've heard, you don't want to have multiple brands under the same seller account. I don't buy into that. I never said that because people really don't pay that much attention, and like we like to think they do, but like they're on Amazon. They just want to buy. They're not going to scrutinize. Oh, wait a minute, this guy's got several different products. Ooh, it must be a scam. No, people don't think like that. In fact, I'd probably say the majority of Amazon sellers are like these drop ship guys, and they have all kinds of crazy, wacky, unrelated products, and no one cares, right? No one really cares. So I think that would not be an issue at all. But if you're concerned about it, as I mentioned, it's very easy to open up a second Seller Central account. And for legal reasons too, you might just want to form a separate entity and just kind of run it as its own standalone thing. But if you're not real serious about the niche you're in currently, then I would just use the existing Seller Central account, in my opinion. Okay. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Right. Yeah. Already covered about lightning deals. So Trevor says, after sending a stubborn hijacker multiple cease and desist without them budging, what's the best way to get rid of a hijacker? Okay. If it's a private label product, which I'm assuming it is, and so, so they're basically, selling a counterfeit version of your product. Here's what I would do. Buy out all of their inventory and have it shipped to you. And as soon as it's shipped to you, you open it up and you grab a bag of rubber bands and you print out the same message: counterfeit, do not return to FBA warehouse, or do not restock in FBA warehouse. And you just wrap that around every single unit, and then you request a refund and you ship it back. So it won't cost you anything. Okay. At the same time, as soon as you get that, take photos of it, side-by-side comparison with your unit, and show that theirs is a knockoff and theirs is counterfeit. You want to use that verbiage, and then you submit a support ticket to Seller Central. Okay. So Chase is asking if the HTML templates are mobile responsive. They absolutely are mobile responsive because they're built in Basecamp. Sorry, I think it's Bootstrap. Bootstrap. Bootstrap is the original mobile responsive coding. So if something looks odd when it's resized for mobile, it might be due to a graphic or something like that. But WordPress, you don't want to use WordPress because WordPress loads so tortuously slow because of yanking all that data from a database, actually. And if you're going to be driving traffic, that slowness will utterly kill your results. So I would be loath to move anything to WordPress. Anybody who's driving any serious traffic, they never use WordPress for that reason because it'll kill their ROI. Again, you can do what you want. That's just my 2 cents. Sid says using Facebook, he's not been real successful with the giveaway contest. Well, there's such an irresistible offer that if you're not being successful with it, then your audience targeting is faulty. I've never had that problem. I've had the opposite problem. Too many people want them because they're like getting a killer product for like a couple bucks. Who wouldn't want that? Well, who wouldn't want that is if you're like targeting the wrong people. So I don't test ads on Facebook. I've talked about this a lot. I test audiences because we know the ad's killer because it's such an irresistible offer. You can't get much better than the offer we're making. So we know it's not the ad, right? But it's probably the audience. So, as Gary Halbert said, you can have every other advantage known to man, but if I'm going to open up a restaurant, the only advantage I want is a starving crowd. So you got to test which audiences are your starving crowd for your offer, okay? And it might just depend, If you are selling a dog harness, there are several audiences you can test. You can test everyone who liked the fan page for a dog magazine. You can target everybody who liked PetSmart. You can blah, 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 blah. You don't know initially which audience is going to give you the best response. That's why I always test audiences. I test 6 audiences, let it run for 24 hours. You'll clearly see which are your dogs, pun intended. Get rid of those. So kick out the bottom 3 and replace them with 3 new audiences and keep the 3 winners. I test those 6 for another 24 hours. Again, I kick out the losers and I keep the winners. And I sometimes will test the 6 again, so 3 new ones, and I keep the winners. And then by the 3rd or 4th day, you have found your 2 or 3 or 4 audiences that work really, really well. So that's what I would highly suggest that you do. Okay. So someone had a question that they posed about using the flash sale, but starting out at a higher price. And yeah, I would recommend that. So let's say that you're starting, MSRP is, well, the stated MSRP is, let's say, $49. Okay. You can run what appears to be a massive discount sale for X number of days, a flash sale, right? And then when a flash sale is over, you put the product quote unquote on sale, right? And you do that within the Seller Central dashboard. So in other words, you drop it to the real price of whatever that real price is. So yeah, that is what we do actually. Yeah, MJ had a Wishpond question, but yeah, that was covered in a webinar replay already. You have several options for that. You can host the contest on your own domain, or you can just let Wishpond host it for you, either or. And I did cover that on the webinar, so check that out. So Mike says he liked the selfie contest idea. Is there a way of holding a contest with Wishpond to build a review club? Well, you could. You certainly could. You wouldn't use like the selfie contest. There is a sweepstakes option that you could run where you would say, win this free product, and you show a picture of the product, and all I have to do is opt in. And then you just, allow everyone to get it at 99% off for a limited time. And then you say, hey, would you like more offers like this? Join our blah, blah, blah review club. So yeah, that could work. That could definitely work. I like it. Is your YouTube videos a good way to send traffic to our listing? Well, nowadays, my preference is for Facebook video ads, and I've covered that extensively over the last few months. So I would definitely check that out. I'm also uploading my most recent 3 lectures that I gave in July at the live event, and my first lecture actually covered a revision of that tactic, which I now call video product review ads that seem to work even better. All right, so that's it for the submitted questions. If you have questions, I'll take a few more here. Just go ahead and type them in. What do you think about creating a list of potential retail markets? James, not sure what you mean by that. Can you clarify? Okay, so David says our new product has been listed on eBay by somebody else with a 2 times selling price. I love when people do that because I don't currently want to deal with the hassle of putting our product on eBay. And all they're doing is they're just doing like an arbitrage move, right? If somebody happens to buy it from them at twice the cost, they just go and they buy it at full retail from you on your Amazon listing. If you ever do go over to eBay, though, you can easily get all those listings taken down because eBay does enforce, copyrights and image copyrights very strictly. But for now, if you're not going to take the time to be on eBay and manage that, who cares? I'll let anybody sell my product as long as they have to buy it at full retail price from me. That's how I would view it. Eddie says, ran a video ad and ended up with 1 cent click. Yeah, it's awesome. Even Facebook complimented me on a campaign. So please, Ben, thanks for your step-by-step expert. Awesome. And Eddie said he also got 104 people on his email list. That's awesome. Tim says, do you or do you not launch new products to friends and family using a coupon so they can purchase for $1? No, the way that here's what I'd recommend. These are friends and family, right? This is not the general public who can cause trouble. These are friends and family. So I would just send them a link and have them buy it for full price and just offer to reimburse them. Hey, I'll reimburse you by PayPal, or we'll just cut you a check. In truth, if they're good friends and family, oftentimes they'll say, hell no, it's my pleasure to buy this and to support what you're doing. But you will get certain friends and family that they do want the reimbursement, and that's fine. So that's what I would do. Kim Marie says she has created a Google Doc spreadsheet that lists the month and the monthly agenda points for all the past fast track training. Would be willing to share the link to that. Viewing only, not edit. That'd be awesome. Yeah, please post it, and I will copy that link. I'll give it over to Emily, and actually I can put it on the dashboard if you don't mind. So just let me know if I have your approval for that. That's awesome. Thank you. Beverly says, when we do a FBA Lightning deal, our prices will be slightly lower than our retailers' prices. We've recently acquired several catalog retailers. To remain in integrity, should we tell our retailers ahead of time that we'll be undercutting them on a specific day? Yeah, for sure do that. Because it might be, you might be violating the terms of service of some sort of contractual thing that you signed, but maybe didn't scrutinize when you got there, brought over those lines to Amazon. So I would definitely tell them, because you don't want to expose yourself to a legal action. Who knows, right? Letty says we were just invited by Amazon to join Amazon Media Group. Well, yeah, everyone can join Amazon Media Group, so don't get too excited. What they want is your money. It wasn't worth it for us. We spent $75,000, and we probably only made like $12,000. And I think that's probably true for 99% of the people that are using the Amazon Media Group. We had high hopes for it, but it's for big dumb companies that are into brand advertising, in my opinion. I doubt anybody like us, where 75K means a lot to us, is actually netting a high ROI off of that. Looking back, I could have taken that same $75,000, and do you know how much I could have done with that if I had to spend that, on Facebook advertising and like Google AdWords advertising and blah blah blah? I could have made far more money. So that's just been my results. What if the hijacker is on eBay? You mean what if they've just copied your listing on eBay? Well, then you can contact eBay and say you're the rights holder to that product, and you can get them kicked off. But if they're just marking it up, let them, because they have to buy the product from you. Yeah, Trevor, okay, so if you don't want to sort of buy them out of their stock, with regards to the hijacker, what you can do is just order 1 unit then and have it sent by overnight delivery, so you can document that it's a counterfeit item, and you can go that way as well. But if they're a hijacker who is winning the buy box, that's costing a lot of money, I would definitely just buy out all their inventory, because I know I'm going to get that money back once I send it back in. Since it's a counterfeit item, I just ask for a refund. So Lewis has a hijacker. His offer is twice as much as mine. It's annoying, but I wouldn't worry about it. We do send those people our cease and desist. But if it's twice as high as you, all they're going to do if they get a sale, they're just playing what I call the greater fool theory. They're hoping that somebody just buys it from their listing at twice the price, and then they're just going to turn around and buy it at full retail from your listing anyway. So I wouldn't go too nuts about that. I don't consider that like a damaging hijacker, because there's no way that they're going to win the buy box from me. George, I already covered the lightning deals question a few times. As far as so while you do the flash sale, you revert to manufacturer's price and suppress the real price. Yes. Returning to the real price once flash sale is over. Yes, exactly. If you use the ASM ranker link for flash sales, do you have to edit the raw URL with the ranking number in it for that ranker link, since the ranking of your listing changed? Well, if you're using the ASM ranker tool, the best practice for that is you update that ASM ranker link daily. So you just right click on your listing and you update it that way. So Alan says, I'm finally about to place an order for my first product. Awesome. Good job, Alan. We intend to have this product in 5 colors, so I'd like to know your thoughts about minimum order quantity for each color variation. Well, I'd probably order 300 units of each color variation, just off the top of my head. The one exception is if there's one color that clearly appears to be more popular than the others, then you would just maybe order twice as much of that popular color and use that as your giveaway, so you have some extras. Yeah, so that'd be my answer for that. But again, I don't know the product, I don't know the demand. It's just literally off the top of my head. Do you have a place, a retargeting pixel on a Shopify page or on a website page to use retargeting on Facebook? Do you have a place? Well, yeah, you know, I mean, it goes outside the scope of this call, but if you have, like, if you bought Ezra's One Stop Shop, he has a video on how to add the Facebook, retargeting code site wide. If you're just using in like an out of the box theme from Shopify that's not Ezra's, it's very easy. Just do a Google search, like literally I'd go on YouTube and just write Shopify how to add Facebook retargeting or how to add Facebook custom audience code. There's lots of tutorials out there on that. It's pretty easy. Kim Marie, will you actually post the link here so I can see it as well? Just like post it in a GoToWebinar chat. Thanks. Ben, have you found that if PPC campaigns are paused for some time and resumed, the ACoS is higher than before? I haven't noticed that. Are you saying that's what happened to you? Thank you, Lewis. Do you use Gleam? I don't even know what Gleam is. Can you let me know what Gleam is? If you give away a product to the top 10,000 reviewers, should I make a coupon 99% off? Well, give them the option. Just say I can give you a coupon or I can just ship it direct to you. A lot of them will just want it shipped direct to them. Yeah, Trevor, I would just wait until it gets delivered, the hijacker's product, and then I would just take a picture showing that it's a counterfeit item. Gleam for contest. I still don't know what Gleam is, though. I use Wishpond. I'm assuming it's like a contest app or something. James says, do you keep retargeting once a customer buys? Well, it just depends on the context. Usually, well, are we talking what? Like our Shopify store? Or what? Like, give me context here so I know what you're talking about. Oh, cool. Thanks, Kim Marie. I am going to pop that here so I have it. Let's take a look here. Oh, nice. Oh, this is sweet. Yeah, thank you. So with your permission, I'll just post this right in the member dashboard right at the top. This is awesome. Thanks, Kim Marie. You rock. Clay says Gleam is a toothpaste from the 1960s. Yes, it is. I think they still sell it, right? Okay, so one person followed up their question who said, when I paused my Amazon sponsored ad campaign and resumed it, my ACoS suddenly was higher. Just as a general rule of thumb, I found that when you launch a new campaign, whether it's on Facebook or Amazon sponsored ads, your costs are always artificially higher in the beginning as the ad distribution kind of makes its way through the platform, and then over time those costs go down as these ad platforms kind of optimize your placement and all that kind of stuff. So I wouldn't hit the panic button. I would say let it run for a month and kind of let the data like accumulate. And also keep in mind your ACoS will be artificially higher the first week of a campaign anyway. Why? Well, because there's a delay in the reporting of sales. So you might get 3 sales today, but that's not going to be reflected until they actually ship the product, and then that data is reported back through the advertising campaign. So that's reflected in ACoS. Okay, so just keep that in mind. That's the other reason why it'll always be artificially higher in the beginning, because there's a delay in the reporting of sales that clearly would affect that ACoS number. Make sense? A couple people asked if I would index the content of your videos. Absolutely. Thanks, Kim Marie. We now have this. I mean, I won't, but Kim Marie will. Thanks, Kim Marie. somebody wants to know if we sell in the UK and Europe, and if so, would I teach that stuff on webinars? The answer is yes and yes. Well, we're not currently selling in UK, Europe yet, but that is top of my list, and as we figure that out, I will absolutely share that. Can I please put the Kim Marie link here as well? I can try. Let me try this. I'm going to put it in the chat box now. Okay, go check. Let me know if you guys saw that. I just sent it out. I don't use that a lot, but is there a good source to get? Oh, it's working. All of a sudden, I see all these people that are now viewing it. All right. Is there a good source to get product use images and videos made? Yeah, two places: elance.com and Fiverr. Fiverr is hit or miss. Another interesting way to do it is to actually go on YouTube and search for, videos. And when you find somebody that does a good job, you can contact them privately and say, hey, I like what you did. What would you charge me to do like a product review for my product? Because they have camera, and who knows, they might say, hey, $200, and you go, great. Hey, how much for some other stuff? So I've had several people say they got the link, and one person says they can't see it. So you want to go to the chat, I think it's called. Can somebody let me know where she can find it? Because people are saying that they are getting it, but one person's saying they can't, or they can't see the link. Rich says in the chat box. So there might be a down arrow that you have to click to expose the chat box. Thanks, Rich. All right, any other questions? Going once. All right, here, I'll send it one more time. I don't know why everyone else is getting it, and a couple of people aren't, but I'll try this again. There we go, just sent it out. Okay, well, if you can't see it for whatever reason, don't worry. We're going to update the membership site dashboard. We're going to put it right on that front and center, so you'll be able to find it there, okay? All right, guys. Let's see. Thanks, Trevor. Appreciate it. Bart, I think I'm going to cover that actually on next month's webinar training. So sit tight for that. And plus, it's kind of a detailed answer. So, all right, guys. Good session today. A lot of good questions, a lot of diverse questions, and I hope you guys got a lot out of this. Just remember, I'll end like how I began. It's what you accomplish, guys, not how long it takes. So hunker down. Really, everyone knows about the 80-20 rule, but I would pose to you how many of you are actually using it as a way to manage your life. And it starts by, Brett, who's one of the people who helps me run these webinars, says it's in the link is in the normal chat box for attendees, just as long as they open their go-to webinar panel. Yeah, so pretty much everybody has seen it, but I just think one or two people, for them, it's not showing up. Thanks, Brett. So anyway, going back, where the rubber meets the road with actually using the 80-20 rule is when you look at what is on your agenda first thing in the morning, take a pen and ask yourself, are there just one or two or three items that I could circle that if I just accomplish those would generate far more result and progress than everything else on my list? And identify what those are and do those first. And then rinse and repeat the next day, and rinse and repeat the next day. I'm telling you, the sticking to the 80-20 discipline in the way that you manage your time every day will have a profound impact over the long haul in your business and in your life, because the same stuff applies to your personal life as well, So anyway, all right, guys, I got to run. Have a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.